Hi, welcome to Kids Club. This is our day one cooking class. If you haven't watched the video yet about today's lesson about softening our hearts and learning stillness, I would recommend that you go and watch those before we get started. Let's get started on a recipe. Today we're going to be making some cinnamon sugar tortilla hearts that we'll dip into a dip as our snack. And so you're going to need a few ingredients to get started. First of all, you're going to need a tortilla, some soft tortillas, a heart-shaped cookie cutter, sugar, cinnamon, cooking spray, a bowl and a spoon, some measuring cups, some measuring spoons, and a cookie sheet. I like to line mine with parchment paper, but it's not necessary. Your cooking spray will work just fine. So we're going to get started today by gathering all of our ingredients. So if you want to hit pause on this video and you can go and gather up all your ingredients and come back here, we'll get started. All right, for those of you who have your ingredients, we're going to get started. We're going to start by spraying our cookie sheet with some of this cooking spray. This is going to keep our hearts and our sugar from sticking to the cookie sheet, and it's going to make everything turn out great. So we talked about hearts in our lesson today. We talked about how having a soft heart is really important for listening to God and hearing what He has to say to us. So as you'll notice, we have a tortilla here. Our tortillas are soft. They're pretty pliable and soft, and you can kind of move them around, and they're really nice and soft like our hearts should be. So they're a really good reminder right now. We're going to take our cookie cutter and we're going to cut hearts out of our tortillas. So you just take your cookie cutter. You might need some help from your parents on this. Push down really hard, and you might need to wiggle it a little bit, and then you can cut out your hearts. So we're going to cut out as many hearts as you can get from your tortilla. I think I was able to get about 8 hearts out of my tortilla with the size cookie cutter that I had. And you can place those on your cookie sheet. What are some ways that we can soften our hearts so that we can hear God speaking to us? One of the ways that we can do that is by praying. We can get into the right mindset to pray by making our cross, or we can ask God to soften our heart. That's another good way to get your heart prepared for prayer. We're gonna cut out our hearts, and as you're lining them up on your tray, make sure that none of them are overlapping and that they're all flat and ready to go. You can also preheat your oven to 350 degrees, or have your parents do that, and that's where we're going to bake our tortilla chips in just a few minutes. The next step, once you've cut out all of your tortillas and lined them up on your baking sheet, is to make our cinnamon sugar mixture. So sugar is delicious, and it can remind us of a few things about God. It can remind us of the sweetness of God and how every good and perfect gift comes from God. And God gives good gifts that are sweet and wonderful and lovely. So our sugar can remind us of that. So we're going to take a half a cup of our sugar. You can measure that out and put that into your bowl over here. And then we're going to also add some cinnamon. Cinnamon's really delicious this time of year during the fall, or any time of year, honestly. We're going to get 2 teaspoons. So a half a cup of your sugar and then 2 teaspoons of your cinnamon. And you're going to put those into our bowl down here, and then you're going to carefully, with a spoon, mix them all together until you have a really nice cinnamon sugar mixture like this. Looks delicious, doesn't it? All right, so if you need to pause the video, feel free. You can pause the video and continue to cut out your hearts. So we're gonna cut all of our hearts and put them on our tray. And then our next step after we cut our hearts is to spray our tortilla chips, our tortillas, with some cooking spray. This is gonna help the sugar to stick to them. You can also brush on some oil if you don't have cooking spray or don't want to use cooking spray. So you can put a little bit of oil in a bowl and brush them if you'd like. Then we're gonna get our spoon and we're gonna carefully sprinkle the sugar onto our tortillas. All right, make sure that they're coated well, but in an even layer. You can also, if you have clean hands, which you should have washed your hands before cooking, you can sprinkle on some of the sugar with your fingers as well. And so you're gonna make sure that every single heart is covered all the way so that when we bake these, the sugar will stick. We'll have delicious cinnamon sugar tortilla chips. All right. Next step is once we have all of our hearts prepared with our cinnamon sugar, see, it's nice and coated, we're gonna go and put these into our preheated 350-degree oven. We're gonna let those bake for 6 to 7 minutes. I'd like for your parents to help you with this part if you're not old enough to use the oven, and they can place these into the oven for you and set a timer for 6 to 7 minutes so that they can bake. So you're gonna then let them cool for about 5 to 10 minutes after they've baked, and they'll crisp up and they'll be nice and crunchy, just like a tortilla chip. So you can pause the video and join us back when you're ready to have your snack. I made some of these earlier, so I have some cinnamon sugar hearts right now, and I have a yogurt dip that I'm gonna use to eat my tortilla chips. So you can use these for dipping, or you can just eat them as they are. These are one of my favorite snacks. I also like these with fruit salsa. My mom used to make these for me with some fruit salsa when I was a kid. So you're gonna notice that there's something different about the texture of our tortillas now versus when we started cooking. When we started cooking, they're really soft, but now they're hard. Isn't that interesting? We learned about how soft hearts are important, and so a soft heart can become a hard heart. What are the ways that we can make our hearts soft again? We can make the sign of the cross. We can spend some time reading the scriptures, reading holy books. We can talk to our priest. We can talk to our parents. We can just ask God to soften our hearts. We can spend some time in stillness, like we practiced in our stillness challenge, and we can learn to take some time to slow down and soften our hearts, which is very important. I would love to hear from you and see that you've made some of these tortilla chips, and to see what lessons you might learn from making them. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that you enjoy your delicious snack that goes along with our day 1 lesson, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.